I am Angela Marine, Director of Athletics, and you just saw the new logo launch video that we released on Thursday. It is perfect that we have a new logo launch going on right now because we are not only celebrating our 25th anniversary as an athletic department, but also preparing for the future in our Division II transition. So what a time to have a new logo as well. As I mentioned, please eat your salads if you're not already. I do want to preface that. Please do that. Thank you. What an amazing time to be a Comet. I have told our coaches and staff and student athletes all year, what we're in now is a transformational time to be a Comet. With our new logo release, with our Division II transition, and with the building of a nearly $30 million track and soccer complex, we have a lot in the queue. And it's a really exciting time. But it all began in the 1990s, 1998 to be exact. And it started with an incredible woman who had the fortitude to become and to help us become an NCAA program, Mary Walters. Mary, will you please stand and be recognized? Mary was UT Dallas's first director of athletics, and she did the hard work. Mary, we're going through this NCAA Division II application. It's pretty serious. So I know the work you and your staff did, and I'm grateful. We're grateful. Now, the other athletic director who is supposed to be here but has yet to arrive is Bill Pettit. I do want to acknowledge Bill. Bill has laid the foundation for us to make this Division II transition. And so I'm grateful for Bill Pettit as well. So Bill, thank you. But as you know, we started in 1998 as an athletic department. We became a fully pledged Division III in 2002. And at that time, our both men's and women's programs competed for an ASC championship, which our women won. So from day one, year one, we've been winning conference championships, and we haven't slowed down. We have won 44 conference championships in the past 25 years, 39 of which happened in the past decade. So we are ready for this Division II transition with this success. But every single person in this room has helped lay that foundation, and we are grateful. We would not be here without you, without your success, and without what you and your families have done. So thank you for that. I also want to welcome other members of the Hall of Honor class. Mary was inducted in 2007, so thank you, Mary. Chris Barnes, a member of 2019. Chris, thank you. Yes, please. And our beloved photographer, Doug Fier, who was class of 2012. I also want to acknowledge our very dignitaries in the room, Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Gene Fitch, and his wife, Jana. Thank you. And our Faculty Athletic Rep, Dr. Court Barron and his wife. Thank you for being here. All right, I have one more video for you to watch, and then we will enjoy dinner. And after dinner, we will introduce our inductees. So have a good night and enjoy your dinner. Our first inductee is Chase Brown. And to present Chase is the only coach Comets Baseball has had. He's amassed 588 all-time wins, 3 ASC championships, and 4 NCAA appearances. Welcome to the stage, Shane Shoemaker.
Thank you. It's an honor to be able to introduce Chase. I've been doing this a long time, 22 years now, and we've had some really good ones come through the program, and Chase is one of the best. And, coaches sitting in here, I know when your best player is your hardest worker, it's going to be a good year. And he was always the guy that was working his tail off and leading by example and doing the things that we needed done, and just did a great job. And you'll see all the awards that he gets. I think they've got a video that they're going to show with all the awards, and they're all well deserved. And as a player, when the other team knows that, hey, you can't let that guy beat you, and he still beats you, he's pretty good. And that's Chase. And it's an honor to be able to introduce him. It was an honor to coach him. And so I'd like to go ahead and get Chase to come up here.
Thank you all for having me out here. It's an honor to get to be here back at UT Dallas. Man, my time here was amazing to look back, to play for Shoemake, to play for many other coaches throughout my life. It's an honor to be here. Thank you all for having me here. I wish I had some amazing speech to say, but I'm just honored, so thank you.
Our second inductee is the first basketball All-American, Scott Rogers. Presenting Scott is former men's basketball coach and recent retiree, Coach Terry Butterfield.
Thank you. Yeah, so I might be a tad longer. So we weren't sure that Scott was going to matriculate to UTD back in the day. We were working him, and we were trying to get his attention back in the day, but it really turned into a team effort. And the team effort, Mr. Rogers was overseas working, so the team effort was me and Scott's mother, Alice, and Scott's brother, Glenn, who just so happened to be a student at UTD at that time. And the word came about through many, many conversations behind the scenes with Mrs. Rogers that Scott never knew about. You know, you and I really became really good friends during that time, didn't we? Don't you think? Yes. I mean, we talked more than I talked to him. Well, the word was that Scott was either going to maybe come to UTD, or a strong option was going down to Austin to that other school. And it turned out that through the grapevine, I learned that he had a lot of friends that were going to Austin, a lot of friends. And There was some speculation about a young lady way back in the day. Sorry, Kendall, but that's a long time ago. And so this was sort of a back and forth thing. And I would see Scott's brother, Glenn, in the fitness center all the time. And initially it was, well, what do you think about your brother? You know, do you think we might get him? Do you think he might come here? And then it got to the point late in the spring where it was like, Glenn, you need to call your brother and you need to make sure that he understands that this is the place that he needs to be. As it turns out, Scott had a meeting with his mom, and his mother presented this option. She said, well, look, Scott, why don't you go give it a try at UTD? And if after a year you don't like it, you could transfer down to Austin. She didn't tell me that, okay, because I would have not approved of that at all. But he decided on that advice that he would give it a try here at UTD. So in my mind, he chose the superior school, don't you agree? Darn right. So, first year that he was with us here at UTD, I don't think he was very enamored with me at all. Very quiet guy, sort of unassuming, sort of stayed back in the shadows, minded his own business, and I don't understand it because that's just a lot like me. Don't you agree, Scott? Yeah, I don't know either. But anyway, I think over time, he grew to tolerate me. And I think that the thing that happened to him right away is he met a really fabulous group of guys. Some of those guys are here tonight. And he just made immediate friends and developed very solid ties to this group of guys that played basketball here. And I think he liked the school. And he really bought into the basketball program. And after a year was up, I guess he and his mother agreed he'd stay, that he sort of liked it after all. As a student, he was very goal-oriented and very driven, right from the get-go, right from his freshman year. This is the only kid that I ever coached in all my 40-some years that entered UTD with his own financial portfolio that he had put together during his high school years. I'm sure that portfolio has only continued to grow, Scotty. Yeah. But he knew what he wanted to do. He was in the School of Management, and he was very in tune with how he saw his life evolving over the long haul. There was one particular moment that I knew this kid was different. We're on a road trip. We're in a hotel somewhere. And all the guys were going to meet up for breakfast that particular morning. And I was walking down a long hallway, and Scott was probably 20 or 30 yards ahead of me, so I decided not to yell at him. It was, after all, a hotel room. But I saw him stop in front of the television room there in the hotel, and he made a quick right turn into the hotel, into the TV room. And I thought, geez, maybe SportsCenter's on. He's catching up with last night's scores. I get down to the TV room, and I turn the corner, and I look, and he's peeled up against the TV. He's watching the Financial News Network, and he's checking the stock ticker. And I said, I don't think we've ever had anybody do that before. So he was special that way. As a player, Scott was a leader by example. Never one for a lot of words. Never one for a lot of high-energy histrionics or anything like that. But in terms of the type of player he was, he had unbelievable energy. He had a tremendous work ethic. Grit, hard-nosed. I called him the buzzsaw. The buzzsaw. Because when he got hold of you, there wasn't going to be much left at the end of you. So he was a tenacious defender. tenacious defender. We played a special defense called our 13 defense. And the guys in the back know that when Scott came up to greet, when the ball went to his side of the floor and he went up to greet, whoever was holding on to the ball was going to be a nightmare for him. So he bought in all the way with all the great defense that we played over the years. He was also a relentless offensive rebounder. Jared was telling me the story today. He said that we were playing Howard Payne one year, and it was in the first half, and Scott had already gone by his guy and gotten 4 offensive rebounds, and the coach from the other team just screamed out, "Is anybody going to block that guy out?" And chances were no one could block him out because he went to the boards and he got rebounds. And then the thing that I would want to point out about him, maybe more than anything else, he was completely selfless. He had no ego, okay? He was a really good player. In fact, Scott, do you remember, you only really started your senior year. You came off the bench as our 6th man for 3 years. Never said a word, never hung his head. He knew what his role was, and he accepted his role gladly and joyfully, and everybody respected him because they knew when he came in the game we were going to get a real lift. So I thought that really made him selfless. And his passion for basketball just grew over time. One time he came to the bench and he said, "Hey, I can beat this guy. This guy can't guard me, this kid that's guarding me." And I said, "Well, what do you want me to run?" And he said, "Just give me the ball. Just give me the ball." And we did, and he scored. So Scott now is the consummate family man. His wife, Kendall, is with us. He's got 2 beautiful children that he left back in Houston. I'm disappointed about that because Uncle Terry likes to meet the children. But in my mind, Scott is really leading his best life right now. And I like to think that UTD played a huge part in how he's evolved as a man and a husband and a father and in all those great ways. We as coaches, the best part of our job is to watch guys like Scott Rogers come to us and watch him evolve over time and then see what he becomes. And he's here tonight, and I'd like to introduce to you a very, very special young man, Scott Rogers.
Just to be clear, I would have loved to have been a 4-year starter. But it is a huge honor to be here today, and thank you for whoever it is that decides on these things for including me here. But it is hard for me to take credit for such an individual award because from my perspective, most of my success at UTD was just a matter of being put in the right situation in a great system. I came here not really knowing what to expect, but came to find out that UTD had one of the most competitive and prepared coaches I'd ever been around. It always blew my mind. We'd be on a long road trip coming back from Sul Ross or the Ozarks, and our bus would pull up in the activity center. We'd get all our stuff, head back to the dorms at midnight or whenever it was, and I'd see Coach heading up to his office, watching film for the next game, getting prepared. And so that kind of stuff, without his preparation and dedication to his craft, I definitely wouldn't be here today. I mean, as you can tell, I'm a 6-foot Asian guy. If I had to rely on my athleticism and raw talent, I definitely wouldn't be here. So thanks, Coach. And the next thing I looked into, and Coach talked about this as well, is that I just had an unbelievable group of teammates. It's not something you could have prepared for. Coach obviously recruited well, but I came here and found brothers that I think I'm going to be friends with for the rest of my life. I mean, damn, there's a whole half table back there that are still supporting me 13 years later, so thanks for coming. They made it fun to compete with, they made it fun to work hard with, and they made it fun to win with. I'm not sure if we had more fun off the court or on the court, but I do believe that the fact that we loved being with each other away from basketball translated into wins when we were playing. And lastly, I have to thank my parents. I didn't know all the back and forth here, the conversations, the backdoor conversations, but thank you for pushing me to come to UT Dallas. As Coach said again, as a senior in high school, I didn't know exactly where I'd end up for college, or if I'd even played basketball at all, but my mom made it very clear to me that she thought this was the right place for me, and as usual, she was right, so thank you. And so despite the fact that, in my mind, a lot or most of my success here was just good fortune, I'm very thankful and humbled to be named to the Hall of Honor. I'm blessed to be a part of UTD athletics, and I'm very excited for the future of the program. There seems to be a lot of great things to come. And so with that, thank you very much, and go Comets. Thank you so much.
So I did not have the honor of watching Chase or Scott compete. They predate my time on campus. But my very first athletic event as a newly hired Comet back in 2012 was watching Dana and her volleyball team compete. I heard her name once, and then it was a name I heard ever since. But before we get to that, I do want to introduce Marcy Allison. Marcy will be presenting Dana with her award today. Marcy still holds the most ASE titles in Comet history with 7. She has currently hung up her coaching hat and has decided to join us in the ranks of administration. So, Marcy Allison.
So I am old enough to have watched you guys and have been here long enough. I told our seniors that were graduating today, they said they were my last class. And I said I will probably die at UT Dallas, so I'm sure you guys will see me again. But I really enjoyed watching you both play. You definitely deserve the accolades and the induction, so congratulations on that. You know, when the Hall of Honor committee decided to push this out 10 years, I was like, okay, that means I have to remember farther and farther about my players and stories. So Terry, well done on all the details, because I don't know, as I get older, it's harder to remember. So bless your heart, since you just retired, on remembering all that. So, all right, well, let me just start off. I really liked the picture that they chose for Dana. I think this says a lot, and she's back there smiling and laughing too. So let me just kind of tell, when I walked in the room and I saw this picture, this isn't on my speech at all, so I'm kind of going off script here, but I called her Dagger, so Hilzendager. So if I say Dagger, that's Dana, okay? This is her looking at me right before she serves, and it's kind of like, okay, well, what's she thinking? Is it what's Marcy gonna call, or what am I doing now? It's like, just that face. She loved the game. She loved the sport. We had that kind of relationship where she was one of those players that was able to joke with me, and we just had a really good relationship. So let me start with the honor. It's an honor and privilege to be speaking in front of you all tonight about one of our previous student athletes, Dana Hilzendager. And I am going to read on script, because the older I get, the more emotional I'm becoming. So when we have these players that come back, it just means so much. So I am going to read this so I don't get too emotional, hopefully. But I'm so happy that the committee nominated Dana and that she was selected for induction. This morning, our volleyball team, they had an alumni game, and I was out there, and they said, okay, Marcy, now that you're sitting over here with us and we're not your athletes anymore and you're not coaching anymore, who are your favorites? And I looked around and I said, there really weren't that many that weren't my favorites. There's like maybe one in all of my history. But I will say, and probably players know this, but Dana Hilzendager was definitely one of my favorites. I say that because of many of the reasons she's my favorite because of what earned her this recognition. Dana is the epitome of what you want a student athlete to be like. I'm not going to talk about her stats or her team success, even though they did go undefeated her freshman year. At 25-0, I think, 20, I don't know. Cody, what was it? 25-0 plus the very last one we lost at the tournament. So 25-1. So we did go undefeated that year, which was very stressful, but I do want to point that out. But more importantly, I want to speak to her about the person that she is. We were lucky to have Dana choose UT Dallas. She was one of our first successes recruiting from solid club teams in the Dallas area. She is exactly the mold of what we recruit to UT Dallas. She played volleyball at a very high level, and she was successful academically. Dana played 6 rotations. That means all the way around. You don't see that very often in the sport, and if you do, it is very, very special. So you see how sweaty she is in this picture is because of how hard she did work. Dana was one of the few that completed all 4 years of her eligibility with us. Being a student athlete for us is very difficult, and I think her teammates who are here with her can attest to that. But Dana worked hard all the time. She worked hard in practice and weightlifting. She prepared for matches. She worked hard while she was competing, and she worked hard to succeed academically. Not that she wanted to be, but she was a great role model for her teammates to follow. Dana also let us coach her. She didn't take things personally. She wanted to get better. She knew when she wasn't playing her best. She was a great teammate. She was serious about competing, but in my opinion, didn't take competing too seriously. She knew the place of the game in her life. She prioritized where she needed to, and is why she's a success today. The final reason I'll say that Dana was one of my favorite players is because there are very few student athletes during your career that understand we as coaches are still people. She wasn't afraid to talk to us. She challenged us. She joked with us. She was just a pleasure to coach. I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Dana. Thank you for all the hard work you put into positively representing our university, our department, all of our teams. I truly believe those of you that were earlier years of the program were the catalyst for the success of the program. Congratulations on all of your success since you graduated, and I'm proud of you for being your true self. You're very deserving of this honor. Congratulations on your induction, and please join me in celebrating Dana Hilzendager.
I just said to Marcy, you couldn't have vetted these photos any better because a lot of those were really terrible techniques. So if any of you have children trying to play volleyball, a lot of that is what you should not do. Thank you, Marcy, for the introduction. My time at UTD was really incredible. I got to play for great coaches in Marcy and Zach. We did have some success going undefeated my freshman year. We won't talk about the first round of the NCAA playoffs. That didn't end super well, but it was a really successful season, winning 1 conference championship, I think 4 division championships, and maybe making 2 NCAA appearances. Lots of success as a team. I had great teammates to do that with. Nikki Calverley was my All-American setter for 2 of my years playing at UTD. She's already been inducted into the Hall of Honors, and she really deserved it. The last time I had to give a sports-related speech like this was after we won our conference championship my freshman year, and we were receiving our rings. And of course, I gave credit then to my parents who have been really supportive during my entire athletic career. At least one of them made sure to make it to every single one of my volleyball games that they could, including traveling out of state when we would go to Wisconsin or St. Louis. They were really great my entire life, and I love them dearly for supporting me. One person I didn't give credit to, that first sports-related speech I had to make was my brother, who's here. I didn't give him credit because, well, it would be difficult to say what he means to me. Why are you crying? I can't. He has a girl as a child now, and it's really changed him. I can't even look at him. I was gonna try and joke and say I wasn't gonna give him credit today just to keep with tradition, but now I have to. He was my first competitive coach playing basketball, no less, and I was terrible, but I was really good at trapping every player at half court and just causing a jump ball, which meant 50% of the time we were getting the ball. So I think it was successful, and I really wouldn't be standing here today without my brother coaching me. And stop crying, my God. I also had the pleasure of playing with one of my best friends, now Jess, and I'm not sure what's happening. And meeting her husband, Cameron, they're two of my best friends now. My God. The other two that went before me, thank you for not crying and making me look bad now. And I had the unique experience of getting to play with another woman who's very special, Hillary Baugh, who's now my wife, and I can't believe I got to play volleyball with my life partner. So I love you, and thank you, UTD. This was great, and now I'm gonna leave and never come back.
So what Dana doesn't know is I am also a crier, so I'm just crying with your whole family too. It's just great. It's wonderful. You know, I love these nights because it truly is an answered prayer for me to be up here leading this department. It is special. Our coaches and staff are in the back. They make my job just incredible. Now I'm gonna cry. Dana, it's the Hilzendagers. We're gonna blame them. But I truly am grateful. We get to live our dream every day. And in these Division II conversations, in these track conversations, in the logo conversations, everything that we get to do every single day when we show up for our student athletes is a true blessing, and so I'm grateful. But hearing your stories, hearing your successes, it's why we do what we do. It's why we show up every day. When you come back, when you're supported, when you have these incredible stories of your families and your children, your successes, that's our career in a nutshell. That's why we chose to do this job. So thank you for living out your dream with us. We're truly grateful. I will be remiss, at dinner, Dr. Fitch was mentioning what the university is building, and I think that's also critical to know. We're building a 225,000-foot student union. It's gonna be 4 times the size of this building. It's incredible. So we're also building that on top of the projects we're doing in athletics, as well as an esports arena. So when you come back next year or the next year, it's gonna look completely different than what it looks like today. UT Dallas has just had exponential growth over the past 25 years in our athletic department and on this university, and we are so blessed to continue that growth as we continue down in the future. So make sure you're following, and plug for Dylan and our social media team. They're excellent. If you're not following social media, you are missing out, because that is where we tell our story, and that's where we tell our student athlete's story, and he does a great job. So thank you, UT Dallas. Thank you, Dana, Scott, and Chris, for being Chase. I'm sorry for being here. It means the world to us. It means the world to hear your stories and to bring you back on campus. So thank you. So as I mentioned, I do want to give a big shout out to Dylan and his social media team. Where's Dylan? Dylan, thank you. Bruce in the back for running our video and making those. Thank you very much. And so again, to all the inductees. Inductees, please stay after for a group photo. And again, thank you for being here tonight. Hope you had a great evening, and we'll see you soon. Go Comets.